Well, you couldn't tell by the crowd, could you? But this match is the first leg of the playoff, which will decide the kings of schoolboy football in the island of Jamaica. The first leg of the Olivier Shield between the Manning and the Walker Cup champions St. George's College and the Costa Cup winners, Russeas. Good afternoon. My name is Donald Oliver. With me is Hugh Solomon, my analyst for today. Of course, a special welcome to those watching via the internet at cvmtv.com. The top two teams in the schoolboy football season for 2011, Hugh Solomon, what are your thoughts on them?
Well, certainly there are two good teams. I've seen both teams play, and I think that we're expecting a very good matchup today. Both coaches, both teams want to win this Olivier Shield, and I'm sure that they would want to settle all the arguments from today without even thinking about Saturday's second leg.
Well, I tell you what, Russeas, they were so bent on getting that the Costa Cup title. One wonders as to how G'd up they are for this particular encounter. Lucy really wanted the Costa Cup. They really wanted bragging rights against a set team. How badly do they want the Olivier Shield?
Well, I think it's very important to them. I heard Coach Follis Williams saying on one interview that last year they wanted the Costa Cup so badly that they made preparations only for the Costa Cup. But this year, it's a different situation. They have won it last year, and they won it this year, and they have prepared themselves better for this Olivier Shield this year. So we expect a good game from this Russeas team.
We're going to take a look at the starting lineups for both teams. And they'll be coming up in a little while. But let's look ahead to how much this means for St. George's College. They are the ones seeking the Triple Crown. We're going to get back to that comment in a little while, but Richard Trench is in goal for Russeas. Lashane Alcott in front of him, Nakeda Lewis, Kyle Anderson, Tarita Gregory, Damian Alexander, Nicody Houghton, Keenan Williams, Demar Doman, Brian Brown, and Anthony Walker. This side really started in the Costa Cup final. Take a look at the St. George's College starting lineup. Nico Campbell is in goal. In front of him, Kareem Manning, Davian Kelly, Romario Jones, Ricardo Henry, Kendon Anderson, of course, their top scorer, Andre Lewis, Richard Garvey, O'Shane Jenkins, Adrian Graham, and Tavares Thompson. Now, Tavares Thompson was one of their top defenders last season. This is only the third game that he's playing this year, as we see a shot of Neville Bell on the left, the coach of Georges, and Emerson Henry, the coach of Russeas. That's the Russians heading out to the middle of the park. They're geared up. But I was asking you the question in regards to St. George's College. Do you think that they have more on the line based on the fact they are looking for a Triple Crown, which, mind you, Russeas denied them a few years back of that Triple Crown?
Yeah, it was in 1992 that Russeas denied Georges of that Triple Crown. But I heard Bertis Bell also said that he has never won the Triple Crown as a coach. He has won the Olivier Shield, the Walker Cup, and the Manning Cup, but he has never won the Triple in the same year. And so certainly this must be a lot riding on for them, because even if it doesn't have much to do with the team, it has to do with the coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And of course, Bertis Bell has been, he's not sure as to whether he'll be staying at St. George's College at the end of the season, although my instinct is that he may very well stay, because he has started he has put in a format that has worked well for the Light Blues of North Street. Of course, the men in the middle, FIFA referee Raymond Bogle. He'll be assisted by Keeble Williams, Omar Mills. The fourth official is Wilver Glenn Lamy.
It's kind of difficult, Oliver, to see Neville leaving Georges at this time. But it's always good to go out while you're on top. So I really don't see him leaving at this time.
Yeah, the Triple Crown has always eluded Neville Bertis Bell, and he really wants to get it this time around. St. George's College faced Charlie Smith in the Manning Cup final. Many people expected it to be the final in the corporate area. As far as Russeas are concerned, their biggest threat was always going to be St. Elizabeth Technical. They got by them in the Costa Cup final. they are the two top teams. I'm not sure if people would argue against that point, but how do you feel in regards to these two teams? Is this the Olivia Shield that you'd have expected even prior to the start of the season?
Well, based on what we have seen, I think there were 4 contenders for this spot. You would have to factor in the Charlie Smith, as you rightfully said, against the St. George's and the Stets against the Russeas. So having crossed that hurdle, you would think that definitely these two teams are deserving of being where they are today.
And ironically, Stets had lost to Charlie Smith in a preseason friendly at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex, and both of them ending up second best as far as the Manning and the Costa Cups were concerned. Of course, Stets won the Ben Francis Cup. Would have been interesting to have seen Stets here, because then both Stets and Georges would have been gunning for that Triple Crown success.
Certainly would have been an interesting encounter. But even in the preseason, what we've seen also is that Stets defeated this Russeas team in preseason by 2-0 in the Stets Cup, and having beaten them in the Ben Francis finals, semi-finals rather, by 2-1. And certainly you would think that all 4 teams were good contenders for being here this afternoon.
How much of a factor is this first leg, home leg really for Russeas? They'd want to really take this playoff by the scruff of the neck.
You would want to settle the argument as early as possible. You would want to make sure that going to Kingston on Thursday that you would have put some pressure on this Georges team trying to come from behind. But they're a good team. Personally as a coach, I remember that from 2008, we went to Constant Spring and we defeated them 2-1, and they came back to Jarrett Park and defeated us 2-0. So they're a good
St. James High.
St. James
for those
High.
who not right.
So, they're a good team, and certainly Russeas will want to settle the argument from here.
Of course, Russeas were in a similar position last year, and they lost 1-0 over both legs. In each leg, really, with the second leg played right here at Jarrett Park, they lost to Jamaica College. Of course, Jamaica College led by the brilliant Ashani Walker, and he really was a standout for that team. So they'd want to go one better in getting by a St. George's College team that has a number of under-17 players who represented Jamaica at the national level, at the national youth level, of course. And a couple of them in the starting lineup today. As I said, the story of one Tavares Thompson to show the depth of this St. George's College team. The fact that he was one of their top defenders last season, and he's now back in the starting lineup playing in only his 3rd game. He hasn't played 2 hours of football this season, yet still they've conceded, 4 goals in all competitions this season? It really says a lot about St. George's College.
Amazing. The fact that as you mentioned, the depth of the Georges team, and we will want to see what they're made of this afternoon against this Russeas team, against a Brian Brown, who is a lethal man up front, and if given room, he will make them pay.
Well, we expect the crowd to come in a little bit later. Well, that's what Hugh Solomon tells me. At around 4 o'clock, they usually get in time for the second half, as we see the officials making their way to the middle of the park. I reckon that we're waiting on them to really get this match on the way.
I see Mr. Dr. Walton Small and Mr. Denham McIntyre, who is the chairman of the Costa Cup and the president of ISA, making their way. And certainly looks like they are the persons we're waiting on.
Here, both of them greeting Neville Burtis Bell at the moment. Really just moments away from the start of this game. And as I said before, the crowd really doesn't show it, but we do expect an interesting encounter between Russeas and St. George's College. Both teams are potent in attack, but really the standout for Russeas this season, Brian Brown with 38 goals. I don't know, well, this is his last season at Russeas High, and he really wants to go out on a high. Probably the target that he's looking for. 42 goals by Connor Learman, the brilliant striker from Glenmuir High. Of course, there was another young Clarendon striker by the name of Ashton Bennett who scored 40 goals. I believe that the Learman 42 is a record here as far as the Costa Cup competitions or entire schoolboy football season is concerned from a Da Costa Cup player. So that's something that Brian Brown could be eyeing.
Well, certainly, and if he does get to 42 goals, I see George is in trouble.
I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to try and outscore a St. George's College team, and if Russeas, if they do manage to plant a couple in, Expect to see some really good attacking football. St. George's College would try to retaliate.
Well, definitely, I'm sure that um, they didn't come all the way from Kingston to play dead. They will put up a fight this afternoon, and so we're expecting a very, very interesting game.
But they do play some beautiful football. Even in the final against Charter Smith, of course, they are resilient as well. We're so used to St. George's College being attacking, but when they went down to 10 players, they were resilient and they managed to come away with a 3-1 win. One of the best looking schoolboy football teams this season. And the same can be said about the Russian team, but they have really channeled the majority of their goals this season. Over 90 goals they've scored, 38 of them to Brian Brown.
Well, certainly, I can tell you, Donald, that I watched the game, the George's Charlie Smith game on CVM TV. So, yes, of course, they're a team that moved the ball around very well. I'm impressed with the way this George's team moved the ball, and this kind of a surface, this kind of a width and length of this Jarrett Park pitch, will be ideal for such a ball movement. And certainly we want to see what they are made of again this afternoon.
Yeah, we do expect an interesting encounter between these two teams. I really tried my best not to oversell it, but on paper, we really should expect a very good game between Russeas and St. George's College.
We've been saying a lot about Brian Brown, but I think there are other players on the Russeas team, especially their captain, Nicode Orton. I think he's a very good player, and he will definitely dictate the pace of this game.
Well, let's pause for the playing of the national anthem. We really are just minutes away from the start of this first leg, Olivier Shield, the rural area leg here at Jarrett Park. The spectators coming in all the time, and these two teams greeting each other. But that's where the friendlies will end, I suspect, for the next 90 minutes, because they really want to come out on top and come out on top in terms of the advantage heading into the second leg at the Kansas Spring playing field on Saturday. Of course, it also takes away a bit if they manage to share the shield, because both teams would want to come out on top, solely on top.
Well, I think I'm not into the idea of the sharing of the shield. I think they should play until a winner is named. Certainly, it's not the same when the shield is shared.
Yeah, you're right, it isn't. But it could be interesting as to how they'd go about that. They could put in the away goal rule.
And possible, extra time penalties if necessary.
Yep, that could also be a factor. Those are the 4 men in charge of the game. Referee Raymond Bogle, of course. That's St. George's College unit. Richard Garvey, second to right from the back. He's playing in his last season, so he's going to remember this photo for a while. He'd want to leave on a high as well. Brian Brown is playing his last season for Russeas. He'd want to leave on a high, helping out Russeas to the Costa Cup success. That's Brian Brown, the number 9. Anthony Walker, we just saw him wearing the number 10. He hasn't scored in what, a dozen matches now?
Certainly.
And he has a dozen goals to his name. But he'd want to improve on that surely.
But you know what, Donald? He hasn't scored in a dozen games, but he has been creating problems for the defenders of the opposing teams and allowing Brian Brown to get some free rein. He will be 30, 40 yards away from the play and will get there quickly enough. He's a very, very swift player.
That's the Russeas bench. Keeble Williams making sure that the goal across to our right, the net is all right. That's Raymond Bogle, really just seconds away from the start of this encounter. Not a big crowd in, but the noise level really up.
And you don't need to ask whose fans are
yeah.
these.
I'll give you a clue.
They're from Hanover.
Here we go with the start of this game. St. George's College kicking off. Of course, they're in the full blue. Mario Jones sending it left-hand side, and they're going to play with the ball around a little bit as they try to get used to the surface, but it's Russeas with the possession now. This is Alexander sending it up to Brian Brown. Brown has been charged down, but no, he gets by one. Well, was trying to get by Tavares Thompson, who may be a little bit nervy based on the fact that he's back in the thick of things. He was a top defender last season, but now he's back playing in only his 3rd game for St. George's College, and he'll be hoping to make an impression, but he really has to deal with a youngster here by the name of Brown. This is Alexander trying to get a good cross inside the box. It's at the far post, not clear properly. Keno Williams with this effort, and in the end it's charged down.
Well, certainly what you have is a good start to this game. I think both teams want to come out and attack as early as possible. As we rightfully said, if you give Brian Brown room, he will play. And this young man is going to be in for a torrid time this afternoon.
Well, Garvey trying to get here, but unable to reach in time. Brown has it. Brown looking for some options and lost it before he could find his captain, Nicody Houghton. Garvey with it. Garvey finds Kelly. Kelly trying to turn but couldn't. Now this is Gregory looking for some options. One-touch pass from Doman. It just didn't work on that occasion, and really both teams just trying the short passes as they try to progress up the field. And let's see how telling it will be in the opening minutes. Again, the possession, exchanging hands. Brown has it, and Brown just a little bit tentative because he needs some help. Decides to thread it through to the right-hand side again. I think that's a 3rd interception in a minute. Now the long pass, looking for Kendon Anderson, trying to get his first touch. Gets it. Keeps it in play, does he? No. It's a throw into Russeas.
I think what needs to be happening at this time, Donald, is that both teams just need to relax, settle down a little bit, try to get the ball on the ground and play it around. It's not good hurrying the game at this time.
Anthony Walker trying to get there in front of O'Shane Jenkins. Now this is Tavares Thompson. Finds Richard Henry. Anderson trying to turn. Fell. Nothing doing. Brown on it. Nico D. Houghton gets a return pass, does he? No. But Shane Jenkins will put this one into touch.
And it's going to do Georges a lot of favor having Brian Brown playing so deep in the middle. I don't know what the strategy is from the coaching staff, but he's playing real deep.
Yeah, he's supplying the passes, this time over to the right-hand side. Both teams really not putting the passes together as yet. This is Davian Kelly, again, trying to turn but unable to get by his marker. And on him on that occasion looks to have been Kyle Anderson. And for the second time in about 2 minutes, just couldn't get by Anderson. Let's see how much success he'll get against Kyle Anderson this afternoon. Georges in the undefensive third. Again, they seek some options as they try to move forward. Thompson on the ball, sends it long, looking for Anderson. Does it reach Anderson? Anderson, well, he was bounced off the ball by Nakeda Lewis, almost as if he wasn't even there. And in the end, it goes into touch for a throw-in to Russeas. So Anderson, I reckon, is going to have a warm time today.
Well, definitely, because the defender from Russeas is a very, very good defender. He's been playing real good all season. And if you notice him, he's a very big guy. And so he will stamp his class on these youngsters.
Well, Anderson again finds the turf. Just 4.5 minutes in, and Anderson looks a little bit unhappy with how it's going in his favor so far. And it's not much in his favor. Let's see what St. George's College does with this attack. Long ball played inside, looking for Anderson. No problems there for Richard Trench.
Lewis seemed to have done his homework on this youngster Anderson.
Here's Kelly. Kelly finds Garvey. Garvey may take a shot from here. Decides to play it inside to Anderson. Too far in front of him. The Russians are back there doing up some defensive work.
Good defending at that time by the Russians, because certainly you don't want to give Anderson any room at all on goal.
Free kick for St. George's College. The previous attack, we saw Richard Garvey just outside the box. And really should tell, based on the statistics in front of me, that he was never going to take that shot, because he's more a passer, almost methodical and mechanical in what he does in this St. George's College starting lineup. He's the only attacker that hasn't scored a goal, in fact. And he was always going to look for that extra pass as a cross comes inside, looking for Kelly.
Did you check his assist?
Probably too much to count. So free kick to Russeas. Anthony Walker. Robbed of the ball by Adrian Graham. Now here's Russeas. Houghton trying to settle. Can't get by Jones. This is Garvey. Garvey. Too long.
Both teams still trying to settle. Haven't done that yet.
Both teams trying to get the passing game going, really.
There's something to note, though, Donald, that Russeas has played better in the second 45 throughout the entire season.
Which is funny, because St. George's College usually starts quickly and then shut the game down in the second half. Long ball of field. Looking for Anthony Walker. Back there was Shane Jenkins. I think they've scored in the first 15 minutes of every game since the second round, St. George's College. Garvey, Henry, it goes through to Anderson. Anderson is going to be a very physical game this afternoon. He better be up for it. Henry. Romario Jones sends this one high. Trench calls for it, collects it.
Of course, Trench has been the main man in the Russeas defensive era all season.
This could be interesting. Russeas trying to come forward. Brian Brown on it now. Brown decided to go wide. Wasn't the best of options. He'll get the throw though.
I think sometimes he's put under excess pressure because I believe that at that moment the number 3 player, Keno Williams, should have gone straight on goal instead of trying to pass that ball to Brian Brown.
Brown again plays it across. Was looking for Anthony Walker. Now Garvey has it. Finds Kelly. To Henry. Henry heading to the byline. Still Henry inside the box. Trench comes out, but Henry plays it across. And it's cleared off the line. It's a corner. Goodness me, that was close for St. George's College to take the lead at Jarrett Park. Because at the near post was Kendon Anderson. He was looking for the slightest of touches to get it across the line, but it was cleared.
I think it was Lushian Alcott who came across and did very well in making sure that Anderson did not get there. Trench was beaten all ends up.
Corner kick comes in at the back post. That the spectacular done on that occasion by Kendon Anderson. It's high. It's going to be a goal kick.
Well, he seemed to be a very good player, but he seemed to have a little chip on his shoulder as well. Look
a
at
little.
how
As you see the previous play, it was just touched across very well. In fact, by Ricardo Henry, looking for Kendon Anderson. And the clearance made before it got to him.
that might have saved the day for Russeas.
Well, as I said, St. George's College, they always seem to score within the first 15 minutes. Was that the opportunity? Williams. Horton. They're going to start again from the back. How they progress forward. Kyle Anderson on the ball, but then just ran out of ideas, didn't he?
Certainly made a bad pass.
And another one. We'll go in favor of Russeas, the throw.
So we have a few turnovers going on in this game.
Horton. Graham with a long kick upfield looking for Davian Kelly. Couldn't control well. Kareem Manning trying to get Kelly going, but it's too far in front of him, and Anderson watches it go out.
I think at this stage, though, Donald, both teams are just trying to feel each other out to see what each other is made of. And sooner than later, I expect that this game will settle down and both teams will start putting the ball on the ground.
Jones, Romario Jones on it. Nobody there in blue. Goal kick. Of course, Romario Jones with the number 21 not wearing his customary number 8. He was, of course, sent off in the Manning Cup final against Charlie Smith just before the halftime interval. Subsequently missed the Walker Cup final. But now he's back here in the Olivier Shield. Garvey was trying to set Kendon Anderson free. Instead, ironically, he got tangled up with the ball. And he's battling here, trying to get it back. Brown playing a little bit too deep for my liking, really.
Certainly.
Horton lost it. Gets it back. He's a battler. Loses it again. Kelly, bad pass. Anderson was going one way. The pass went the other way.
Well, certainly he wanted him to go one way, but he wasn't going that way.
Too much. The flag went up, though. That saved Nakeda Lewis.
I think Russeas defenders are guilty of taking too many touches off the ball in their defensive turn.
Yeah.
And as a coach, you would get real upset with that. You don't want one or two touches from your defenders.
That's Richard Garvey playing his last year. Tavares Thompson, this is his third game, but he's also playing his last year. He's taking the throw.
I'm sure that these players who are playing in their final season would want to make a statement.
Horton. Williams. Good move there, heading towards the byline. Needs a good cross and pulls it back. Not cleared properly. That definitely wasn't cleared properly. Almost put Nika Campbell in some problems there.
That was a shot by the Georges defender. Luckily, the goalkeeper was in a good position.
Not sure exactly what he was thinking there, but he was certainly off target, so to speak.
Certainly, I think he was trying to clear the ball, get it away anywhere except towards his goal.
Anderson deciding to run into some traffic.
He's been roughed up by Lewis.
He has been.
I want to see how long that Lewis can contain him.
Williams. Another cross, looking for Brian Brown. It's a tad overweight. Whistle on the play. Free kick. I think it's a free kick to St. George's College. Taken quickly. Henry.
I would have loved to see the referee play that as an advantage to the Georges team.
Jones trying to send it left-hand side. Intercepted there before it reached Lewis. Anderson now. Anderson gets by one. Trying to get by a second on his right foot. Anderson. It's high and wide.
Well, if Russeas can continue to force him to make shots like those, then he won't be a threat to them all afternoon.
Until he gets one on target.
Until he gets one on target. But it seemed to me, though, Donald, it seemed to me, though, that Lewis